It was 2:37 a.m. when Henry Cole's phone vibrated across the nightstand. The sound dragged him out of a heavy sleep. He grabbed for it, knocking his glasses to the floor. The bright screen hurt his eyes. Unknown number. Nevada area code. His throat felt dry as he answered. "Hello." A young man's nervous voice came through. "Sir, are you Mr. Henry Cole? I got your number from the lady here. She says she's your wife, Mrs. Maria Cole. She's at our gas station. She's cold, bruised, and scared." Henry sat up so fast the room spun. "That's impossible. She's with my daughter and her husband on vacation. Where are they?" "She's alone, sir," the boy said quietly. "She's been here since yesterday morning." Henry was already out of bed before the call ended. He pulled on yesterday's jeans with shaking hands, grabbed his wallet and keys, and headed for the door. The house felt too quiet. Too empty. Maria, his wife of 41 years, should have been safe in Death Valley with their daughter Anna and Anna's husband, Ryan. "They left her," Henry whispered, shock turning to a hard, hot rage. The drive through the desert night felt unreal. The highway was long and black, the headlights cutting a thin tunnel through the dark. Henry pushed the speedometer up to 90, fingers tight on the wheel. His mind replayed their last family dinner. Ryan smiling too much, always topping off Maria's wine. Anna silent, eyes on her plate, flinching when Ryan's arm brushed hers. At the time, Henry had told himself he was imagining things. "You're getting old, Henry," he'd muttered that night. "Stop reading danger everywhere." Now the memory burned like acid. When the Desert Stop gas station finally appeared, its flickering sign looked like a mirage. Henry parked badly, half across the lines, and jumped out. He saw her at once. Maria sat on a metal bench under the harsh white lights, wrapped in a thin blanket. Her hair was messy, her clothes dusty. Dark finger-shaped bruises marked her arms. A purple blotch spread along her cheekbone. "Maria," Henry breathed. She looked up slowly. Her eyes were full of tears and shame, not relief. "I thought they'd come back," she whispered. "I waited. I thought maybe they just forgot." The young cashier hovered a few steps away, hands jammed into his pockets. "I'm Josh," he said quietly. "She wouldn't let me call anyone at first. Didn't even want coffee. Just kept watching the road." Henry swallowed hard. "You called anyway?" Josh nodded. "She finally told me your name this evening. I couldn't just leave her like that." Henry pressed some cash into the boy's hand. "You did the right thing when my own family didn't." He turned back to Maria. "Come on, love. Let's get you warm." She stood on shaky legs. Henry wrapped an arm around her, shocked at how small she felt. They walked slowly to the car. Josh opened the door for her and handed Henry a small plastic bag. "She wouldn't eat much," Josh murmured. "But she drank some water." "Sir, whoever did this, they are not good people." Henry met his eyes. "I know who did this." The drive to the nearest motel was quiet. Maria stared out the window, arms wrapped around herself. Her teeth chattered even though the heater was on full. At the Desert Rose Motel, Henry paid in cash, led her into a small room, and turned on the dim lamp. "Hot shower. Clean towels. Then sleep," Henry said gently. "We'll talk tomorrow." Maria stood in the middle of the room, not moving. I'm sorry," she whispered. "You had to drive all this way. I ruined your night." Henry stepped closer and took her cold hands. "Stop." His voice was firm. "None of this is your fault. Do you hear me?" Her lip trembled. "But Anna made a choice," he said softly. "So did Ryan. You didn't." That broke her. Tears spilled down her bruised face. Henry pulled her into his arms as she sobbed against his chest. "I thought they loved me," she choked out. "I thought it was a normal trip. I tried so hard." "I know," he murmured. "Go shower, Maria. I'll be right here." While the water ran and Maria cried quietly in the bathroom, Henry sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the faded curtains. The old part of his brain, the part that had once built cases as a prosecutor, woke up like a machine. "Someone hurt my wife," he whispered. "Someone tried to use her." His jaw tightened. "They think I'm retired from justice," he said to the empty room. "They are wrong." The next morning Maria woke late, eyes swollen and voice hoarse. Henry had already bought coffee and toast from the office. "Here," he said softly, setting the tray on the small table. "Eat a little. Drink slowly. Her fingers shook as she lifted the cup. We were fine the first day, she began quietly. Ryan was charming. He made me laugh. Anna smiled like she used to when she was little. I thought, maybe I'd misjudged them. Henry pulled out a chair and sat opposite her. Tell me everything, he said. His voice was gentle but steady. Maria stared at the toast, not at him. On the second day, Ryan brought some papers. He said they were travel forms. Insurance, emergency contacts. I wanted to trust him. I really did. What kind of papers? Henry asked. I read them. Her voice dropped. They were power of attorney forms. If I signed, Ryan would control everything. Our house. Our accounts. Our decisions if we were unfit. Henry's chest tightened. You're sure? She nodded. I told them I wouldn't sign until you saw them. Ryan's face changed. Anna said, Mom, don't you trust us? It didn't feel like family anymore. It felt like pressure. Maria twisted the edge of a napkin between her fingers. We stopped at the gas station after that. Ryan said he needed fuel. I went to the restroom. When I came out, her voice broke. They were gone. Henry's jaw clenched. Did anyone see the car leave? Josh said he saw them drive off. I thought there must be some mistake. I waited all day. She swallowed hard. I thought maybe they'd gotten lost. Or were playing some cruel joke. Henry reached across the table and covered her hand. They left you in the desert with bruises and fake papers. That's not confusion. That's a plan. Maybe I misunderstood, she whispered weakly. Maria, he said firmly, you are many things, but you are not blind. You saw what you saw. Tears welled up again. I didn't want to believe our own daughter could do that. Henry squeezed her hand. You did the right thing by refusing to sign. You saved us both. She nodded slowly, still not looking at him. Henry's mind was already moving. Finish your coffee, he said quietly. We're going home. You need rest, and I need paperwork. What will you do? She asked. He stood up. What I've always done, he replied. I'll build a case. Back in Carson City, Henry drove straight to their house. The desert sun had burned away the cool of morning, but he felt oddly cold inside. As soon as Maria lay down to rest, he called their family doctor. Dr. Rose, I need you to come to the house. Maria has injuries that must be documented. Dr. Rose arrived within an hour, her face serious when she saw the bruises. Who did this to you, Maria? She asked gently. Maria looked away. Henry answered. Her son-in-law. Maybe our daughter. We'll let the law sort that out. Dr. Rose measured every bruise, took photographs, and wrote detailed notes. These are not from a fall, she said quietly. Someone grabbed her hard. I know, Henry replied. When the doctor left, Henry went straight to his office. Old habits took over. He pulled out his worn leather notebook and began writing. Dates. Times. Names. Gas station. Motel. Bruises. Fake papers. Then he opened their online bank accounts. Small transfers, always under $2,000, appeared on the screen. All sent to Anna and Ryan's joint account. The total reached $15,000. Henry stared, breathing slowly. They've been testing the line, he murmured. Seeing how much they can take before we notice. Henry printed the bank records and laid them out on his desk. Next, he pulled Maria's travel folder from her suitcase. Receipts. Hotel confirmations. A folded set of photocopied forms. He unfolded the forms and read every line. Words like incapacity, transfer of property, and financial control stood out like red flags. Travel forms, he muttered. That liar. He took photos of each page with his phone, zooming in on key phrases. Then he started a voice note, his tone calm but icy. Possible elder abuse, he said. Attempted coercion into signing power of attorney. Abandonment in dangerous conditions. Pattern of financial theft. His phone rang. Anna's name flashed on the screen. Henry tapped record before answering. Dad. Anna's voice sounded bright and fake. Something awful has happened. Mom disappeared. We've been looking everywhere. I'm so scared. Henry closed his eyes for a brief second. Stop, he said coldly. She's home. I picked her up from a gas station after you left her there for 36 hours. Silence. Then Ryan's smooth voice slid onto the line. Henry, you've misunderstood everything. No, Henry cut in. I've understood perfectly. You abandoned my wife and tried to steal from us. We'll talk soon. In person. He hung up and saved the recording. For 2 days, Henry barely left his office. He organized everything into folders on his desk. Financial theft. Medical injuries. Recorded calls. Fake documents. The room looked like a small courtroom. On the third morning, he called an old colleague. Blake, it's Henry. Henry Cole. Mr. Blake sounded surprised. I thought you were enjoying retirement. I was, Henry replied. Then my son-in-law put his hands on my wife and tried to steal my house. There was a pause. Bring what you have, Blake said. Tomorrow morning. Henry arrived with 2 heavy folders. Blake flipped through them slowly, his face growing darker. This is strong, Blake said at last. Photos. Medical notes. Bank records. Recorded lies. They'll never see it coming. He outlined Henry's options. We can go straight for criminal charges. We can file a civil suit. Or, we can give them a choice. Sometimes the threat of justice hits harder than a trial. Henry thought for a moment, then nodded. A choice, he said quietly. I want them to feel the weight of what they almost did, and what they still might lose. You're serious about this, Blake said. Henry's eyes were cold. I'm fighting for my wife. I've never been more serious. When Henry got home, Maria sat by the window, folding and unfolding the same napkin. She looked up quickly. Did he believe you? He saw the truth, Henry said. He sat beside her. We have options. Will you confront them? She asked softly. Face to face. Yes, he replied. But on my terms. He picked up his phone and called Anna. She answered on the second ring. Dad. I want you and Ryan at the house on Saturday at 2 o'clock, Henry said. Bring the children. There was a short silence. Dad, maybe we should wait. Things have been tense. Ryan thinks, Saturday, Henry repeated. 2 o'clock. Don't be late. He hung up before she could argue. Maria's voice shook. Are you sure this is wise? Henry gave a small, tired smile. I spent 40 years in courtrooms, Maria. I know how to set a table for truth. On Saturday, Valentine's Day, the house smelled like coffee and lemon polish. Henry and Maria moved quietly, each lost in thought. At exactly 2, Ryan's black SUV pulled into the driveway. Anna stepped out holding a bakery box. The children, Ella and Jack, ran ahead, laughing. Henry knelt and hugged them, his voice warm. Grandpa missed you. For half an hour, the house rang with their laughter, as if nothing had ever gone wrong. Then Henry sent the children to the guest room to watch cartoons and closed the door behind them. The air in the living room went still. Sit down, Henry said calmly. We're going to talk. Ryan dropped onto the sofa with a loud sigh. Anna sat beside him, clutching the bakery box like a shield. Henry placed a thick stack of papers on the coffee table. Medical reports. Photos. Bank statements. Ryan frowned. What is this supposed to prove? Henry's voice stayed calm. Assault. Abandonment. Fraud. Anna's face went pale. Dad, we can explain. Then explain the bruises, Henry cut in. Explain the gas station. Explain the missing money. Silence settled over the room. Maria sat in the armchair, hands shaking in her lap. Henry leaned forward. You have 2 choices, he said quietly. Return every dollar you took, sign an agreement to stay out of our lives, or face criminal charges. You have 48 hours. Ryan stood up so fast the papers slid. His face turned red. You're bluffing. Nobody will believe you. Henry met his eyes steadily. I was a prosecutor for 40 years. I don't bluff. Ryan grabbed Anna's arm. We're leaving. Anna, Henry said softly, look at your mother. Anna glanced at Maria's bruised face and flinched, then looked away. Let's go, Ryan snapped. The front door slammed. Maria whispered, what if they fight back? Henry stared at the closed door. Then they'll find out what it means to pick a fight with the truth. The next 2 days crawled by. No money appeared in Henry's account. No apology. No call. On Monday afternoon, the doorbell rang. Henry opened it to find a young woman with a clipboard. Mr. Cole? Yes. You've been served, she said, handing him an envelope before walking away. Henry opened it at the dining table. His eyes narrowed as he read. "Petition for conservatorship," he murmured. "They are asking the court to take control of our lives. Our money. Our decisions. Claiming we're not mentally fit." Maria read over his shoulder, trembling. "She says we can't take care of ourselves," she whispered. "That we're confused. That I wander off. No," Henry said quietly. "She's saying exactly what Ryan told her to say." 30 minutes later, they sat in Blake's office. Blake scanned the petition, his jaw tightening. "They are desperate," he said. "We'll answer this. You both will do full medical and memory tests. We prove you're competent and show the judge the truth of what they did." Maria's voice shook. "What if I fail the tests?" Henry took her hand. "You won't," he said calmly. "And even if you stumble, we have evidence. They used lies. We'll use facts." Blake nodded. "I'll file our response today. From this moment, you're not just defending yourselves," he said. "You're exposing them." The next week was full of tests. Memory questions. Puzzles. Numbers to repeat backward. Medical exams. At the end, the specialist smiled at Henry. "You're sharper than most 50-year-olds, Mr. Cole," she said. "I'll put everything in writing." "Please do," Henry replied. That night, he made another move. From an old payphone near a bus stop, he dialed child services. "There are 2 children in a home full of money problems and fighting," he said calmly. "Their safety may be at risk." He gave Anna's address, hung up, and snapped the phone in half before dropping it in a trash can. "Ryan wanted a war," he muttered. "He'll get one. Only mine will be legal." Through old contacts, Blake learned something else. "Ryan has gambling debts," he told Henry over coffee. "Big ones." "How big?" Henry asked. "Close to 90,000, Blake said. "And we only see what's on paper." Henry leaned back. "So that's why he wanted our power of attorney." They hired a forensic accountant named Sam. Henry handed over Ryan's full name, work details, and anything public he could find. A week later, Sam's report arrived. Illegal betting accounts. Hidden loans. A fake mortgage signed in Anna's name. Blake looked at Henry. "This," he said, tapping the pages, "is a hammer." The conservatorship hearing came 2 weeks later. Henry and Maria walked into the courtroom hand in hand. Anna and Ryan sat at the other table. Anna wouldn't meet their eyes. Ryan stared straight ahead. Judge Harper, a calm woman in her 60s, took the bench. "We're here on the petition of Anna and Ryan Davis," she said, requesting conservatorship over Henry and Maria Cole. Ryan's lawyer spoke first, painting Henry and Maria as confused, forgetful, unable to manage money. Maria's hands clenched in her lap. Then Blake rose. His voice was steady and sharp. He presented the medical reports. The memory test scores. Dr. Rose's photos of Maria's bruises. Bank transfers. The fake power of attorney forms. "Not only are they competent," Blake said, "they are victims. Their daughter and her husband tried to trick them into signing away everything. When that failed, they abandoned Mrs. Cole in the desert and now seek control of their finances through lies." Judge Harper asked Henry a few simple questions about dates, amounts, and documents. Henry answered every one clearly. After a short pause, the judge spoke. "Petition denied," she said firmly. "In addition, I am granting a protective order. Ryan Davis and Anna Davis are to stay at least 100 yards away from Henry and Maria Cole unless ordered otherwise by this court." A hush fell over the room. Henry exhaled slowly, feeling the first real wave of victory. 3 days later, Sam delivered the full forensic report. It was worse than the first summary. Ryan had drained accounts, taken loans in his own name and Anna's, and forged a second mortgage on their house. Henry flipped through page after page. "His drowning," he said quietly. "And he tried to use us as a life raft." "If you wanted to," Blake said carefully, "you could hand this straight to Anna. It's all legal. Just be ready for the fallout." Henry nodded slowly. "I don't threaten people," he said. "I educate them." He waited and watched. Every Tuesday morning, Anna shopped at the same grocery store on Main Street. That week, Henry parked outside and waited. When she walked in at 9:30, he followed at a distance. She saw him near the oranges and froze. "Dad, you're not supposed to be near me," she hissed. "We're in public," he said softly. He kept his distance. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to give you this." He set a thick folder on the fruit display. "What is it?" she asked. "Your life," Henry said. "Ryan's gambling accounts. The fake mortgage. The loans. All in your name." "That's not true," she whispered. "Check your credit report," he replied. "Then tell me it's a lie." He stepped back. "I'm not asking for anything, Anna. I'm just handing you the truth. What you do with it is your choice." Then he turned and walked away, leaving her staring at the folder like it might explode. The next day, Henry's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Anna. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 2 p.m. at River Cafe." He showed Maria. "Should I go?" "Yes," she said softly. "But be careful." At River Cafe, Anna sat in a corner booth with the folder open, eyes red. Henry slid into the seat across from her. "Is this real?" she asked barely above a whisper. "Every word," Henry said. "I had it checked twice." She stared at the pages. "The mortgage, my name isn't even on the deed. He forged my signature." "Yes," Henry said quietly. "And the debts are deeper than you think." Her voice cracked. "Why are you telling me this after everything? After what I did to Mom?" "Because you're still my daughter," Henry replied. "And Ella and Jack are still my grandchildren." Tears spilled over. "What do I do?" "You start protecting your children," he said. "File for divorce. Get away from him before he pulls you under." She shook her head weakly. "I don't know if I can fix this." "No," Henry said. "You can't fix the past. But you can stop the damage from getting worse." She gathered the folder, hands shaking. "I need time," she whispered. "Take it," he said. "Just remember, time doesn't stop consequences." She left without saying goodbye. Through the window, Henry watched her sit in her car, staring at the papers, then making a call. Even from far away, he recognized it, shock giving way to anger. 12 days later, Henry's phone rang at 8 in the morning. "Dad," Anna's voice trembled. "You were right. About everything. The debts, the gambling, the mortgage. I checked the records myself. I didn't know." Henry's voice stayed calm. "You didn't know about the money," he said. "But you knew you left your mother alone in the desert." Silence. Then quiet sobs. "He told me she lied. That she ruined our lives." I believed him. I wanted to believe him. "If you want to make things right," Henry said softly, "listen carefully. File for divorce. Let us take the children for now. And return the money you took from our account." "I'm scared," she whispered. "Child Services is already looking at your home," he said evenly. "If you don't act, they'll act for you." A long pause. "How long do I have?" 2 weeks, Henry replied. "No excuses." "Okay," she said, voice small. "I'll do it." "One more thing," Henry added. "When you file for divorce, request an investigation into the notary who stamped that fake mortgage. Ryan won't sit still. Let him try to cover his tracks on record." She didn't fully understand, but she agreed. "I'll add it." 2 weeks later, Blake called. "She filed," he said. "Divorce. Fraud. Forged mortgage. She's asking for custody." Henry closed his eyes for a moment. "Good," he said. "The avalanche has started." That afternoon, Ryan was served with the divorce papers at work. Coworkers later said he went pale and walked out without a word. 2 days later, Henry received a text from an unknown number. "You did this. You ruined my family. This isn't over." Henry took a screenshot, forwarded it to Blake, and deleted it. "More evidence," he muttered. That night, just after midnight, headlights swept across Henry and Maria's living room window. Maria stirred. "Henry, someone's outside." Heavy knocks shook the front door. "Come out, you coward." Ryan's voice slurred through the wood. "Face me." Henry whispered, "Call the police." He stayed in the hallway, listening. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights flashed through the curtains. Officers arrested Ryan on the porch for violating the protective order. The next week, Ryan did something even worse. At 3 in the morning, he broke into the small office of Linda Perez, the notary who had stamped the fake mortgage. Security cameras caught everything. His face, his hands on the filing cabinets, his attempt to grab records. He was arrested before sunrise. Blake called Henry, almost amazed. Breaking and entering. Attempted theft. Tampering with records. Your son-in-law is digging his own grave. By the end of the month, Ryan had lost his job after his employer received the court records. His car was repossessed. Foreclosure notices appeared on his door. Anna moved into a small apartment with Ella and Jack and took a job as a legal assistant. The first $500 she earned went straight to Henry and Maria in repayment. When Ryan's sentencing came, Henry sat quietly in the back of the courtroom. Ryan wore county jail clothes and looked smaller somehow, shoulders bent. The public defender begged for mercy. My client has lost his job, his home, and his family, he said. He's willing to accept responsibility. Judge Miller listened without emotion. Then she spoke. 6 months probation. 200 hours of community service. Restitution to all victims. And a permanent restraining order. Any violation, and you go to jail. Ryan nodded weakly. For a brief second, his eyes met Henry's. Then he looked away. A week later, Anna called. It's over, she said. The divorce is final. He's gone. Good, Henry replied quietly. Now rebuild. The following month, Henry and Maria met with their estate lawyer. We want everything placed in a trust for our grandchildren, Henry explained. The house, the savings, all of it. Ella and Jack inherit when they turn 25. Their mother receives $50,000. No more. The lawyer raised his eyebrows. A symbolic forgiveness, he said softly. Henry nodded. Exactly. We protect the children and give Anna a chance to start again, but we never place our future in someone else's hands again. Maria signed last, her hand steady. This way, she murmured, no one can hurt us like that again. Outside, the sun felt warmer than it had in months. Summer slowly softened the sharp edges of their lives. Ella and Jack spent weekdays at Henry and Maria's house, filling the rooms with drawings, games, and loud laughter. Maria took them to art classes. Henry taught Jack how to ride a bike on the quiet street out front. Anna visited every Saturday, always on time, always tired but calmer than before. One afternoon, she stood in the kitchen with Maria, rolling cookie dough. I'm not asking you to forget, Anna said quietly. I want a chance to prove I'm not that same woman anymore. Maria studied her face, older and lined with regret. You're trying, she said gently. That's what matters for now. Henry listened from the doorway, saying nothing. Healing, he knew, was slow work. On their 41st wedding anniversary, Maria baked a lemon cake, just like the one she'd made their first year together. Anna and the children came for dinner. The house was warm, full of easy chatter and clinking plates. Later, when the kids ran off to play, Maria leaned close to Henry. Do you think we're finally okay? She asked. Henry looked at her, the woman he'd driven through the night to rescue, the woman now sitting strong and steady beside him, and then at Anna laughing softly with her children. Yes, he said. Because what we did wasn't revenge. It was justice. And real justice gives people back their peace. Maria smiled, eyes bright. Then justice was served. Henry glanced around the table at his slowly healing family and whispered, completely.